Is it difficult to surprise you? Do you think you've seen everything in the world? Then this video's for you. In this episode, there are a lot of interesting and unusual things. Today, you'll see thousands of worms eating an apple at the same time, interesting bicycle and car hybrids, and more. Imagine 10,000 worms completely destroying a leaf of lettuce right in front of your eyes. Would you like to see that? Thanks to time-lapse, you have the opportunity to see not only the destruction of lettuce, but also other foods the worms devour. The only difference is that it takes longer for the worms to eat the larger vegetables. On the recording, it looks like the lettuce is eaten in seconds, but in reality, it took 18 hours for the worms to do so. How long would it take to eat a whole apple? This task would be more difficult than the lettuce. In 10 hours, the insects could only chew a small hole. The worms ate half the apple in 30 hours. But then eating unexpectedly went faster. After 46 hours after the start, there was no trace of the fruit left. Mechanical traction. Some children's cars are made with pedals inside. By spinning them, a child can move forward and backward. But is such a trick possible with a real car? How long does it take to spin the pedals to drive a small hatchback? We're about to find out. The inventors called this miracle of technology a bicycle-powered car or autocycle. Bloggers made it from an old Honda Civic and 2 bikes. Guys even dared to get out in the city and try to drive it to the nearest McDonald's. Of course, they couldn't achieve racing speed. They were dragging at a speed of about 3 to 4 kilometers per hour, but experimenters caused a real furor. Many pedestrians and motorists even stopped to get a better look at the bicycle-powered car. A policeman was also interested in the car, not only because of the violation of operating rules, but also out of pure curiosity. These blogger inventors were not the only ones to come up with the idea of combining a bicycle and a car. At least one other such inventor lives in Sweden, and his name is Mikael Kjellman. He designed the Pod Ride, a 4-wheeled bicycle that's indispensable in rainy and windy weather. Mikael took great care to cover the rider from bad weather conditions. Moreover, his brainchild can move even off-road. Meanwhile, the size of the new transport is quite modest. The length of the bicycle is 180 centimeters, the width is 75 centimeters, and the height is 145 centimeters. The device weighs 70 kilograms. In Sweden, the Pod Ride is classified as an electric bike, which does not require a license or insurance to drive. However, there is a disadvantage in such a vehicle. It's impossible to go on a trip with the whole family on the Pod Ride because the interior is designed only for one person. The body of the electric bike is made of water-repellent fabric, which protects the driver from rain and wind. The biggest mouth. Philip Angus, a teacher from the American state of Pennsylvania, unexpectedly became the owner of the record called the world's largest mouth. Philip's friends were the first people who thought of registering the record. At the time, Philip was 10 years old, and there was a story on TV about the previous owner of the title. When the boy told his mother about the idea, she suggested measuring his mouth by herself. The distance between the boy's upper and lower incisors when his mouth was open was 9.52 centimeters. This feature made him a world record holder. According to his mother, the mouth gape must be measured by a dentist to receive the title officially. When the doctor saw Philip, he exclaimed that he had never seen anything like this.
My man fit a whole baseball in there!
In general, Philip is the only one in the family with such a peculiarity. The boy's parents have mouths of the usual size. Of course, someone may think such a record is funny and ridiculous, but relatives and friends of Philip's are very proud of him. The pilot's secret room. Most of us have flown on an airplane more than once, so we know very well what the standard flight is. When the altitude gained, the flight attendants serve food and drinks, and if the flight's at night, the light in the cabin is dimmed, and almost all passengers fall asleep or watch a movie. But during the long night flights, not only the passengers need rest, the crew members also need to sleep. It turns out that pilots and flight attendants even have a secret bedroom. On large airplanes like this Boeing 777, such a room is usually located above the first-class cabin. Of course, you can't get into it by accident. You need a special code to open the door. However, most passengers are not even aware of the existence of such a place, so they won't get there anyway. Did you know about the pilot's secret room? Write in the comments if it was not news to you. And stay tuned because there are many more interesting and new things to come. I'm sure you haven't yet met the most unusual waiter in the world, do not know about the most feminine place on the planet, and have not seen a crazy and aggressive plant that attacks people. The longest pedestrian suspension bridge. How many times did you walk across pedestrian suspension bridges? Many people think such structures are a thing of the past, but they're not. The world's longest pedestrian suspension bridge was recently opened in Portugal. Its length is 516 meters, and it was built as a kind of extreme attraction for the local Arauca Geopark. Not everyone dares to walk across the suspension bridge at a height of 175 meters. However, there are a lot of those wishing to. Suspended between two enormous concrete pillars, its floor and walls are made of heavy-duty wire mesh, giving pedestrians a chance to see the landscape and the river valley below in vivid details. On average, it takes about 10 minutes to cross the bridge. That's if you don't have to stand in line. The number of people who want to cross the record holder bridge increases every day. Aggressive cactus. Even if you're a big plant lover, I advise you to stay away from this seemingly cute cactus. The plant called chala is the only one of its kind because it's capable of attacking people. This cactus grows in small sprouts of about 5 to 6 centimeters long. If you touch such a branch out of curiosity, you can get in trouble. A fragment of the chala will simply stick to your skin, and it'll be difficult to tear such a souvenir off your skin. The plant performs the same trick on animals that run by. The chala sort of jumps on the possible victim. This is one of the ways the cactus vegetation reproduction. The animal can run a long distance before dropping the spike. When this happens, a fragment of the jumping chala quickly takes root and gives rise to a new plant. Personal jetpack. Over the past few years, scientists have been saying that the use of personal jetpacks is about to become available for everyone on the planet. However, most of us have only seen these devices in fantasy movies or video games. So how do we know what's really going on? In fact, jetpacks tests are conducted regularly. In particular, the British and US military conduct them often. And recently there have been open trials of jetpacks for paramedics. According to the plan, doctors will be able to fly to the most inaccessible areas for medical emergencies. Look at how easy and effortlessly the US Marines have learned to move around. After watching this footage, many countries also wanted to provide jetpacks for their military. In the UAE, it was announced that soon there would be firefighters with jetpacks in Dubai. Well, it looks like the future's now. Women's Island. It's hard to believe, but there are still places on Earth where the gender ratio is very astonishing. For example, there's a place in Estonia where men are very rare. This is the Kinu Island, located in the Baltic Sea, 11 kilometers off the west coast of the country. The island, with a population of a few hundred, is ruled by women. It's the last community in Europe where matriarchy officially reigns. The local women simply have no other options. They have to take care of everything from agriculture to engineering. But where are all the men? Since the 19th century, there's been a tradition that the men of the island spend almost the whole year at sea, fishing. The women who remained ashore quickly managed to learn to do everything themselves. But this unique culture is unlikely to survive long in the modern world. According to the residents of the island, it's very difficult to preserve the heritage when the young people leave to get an education and find a job and often don't return. In the summer, the island is popular with tourists, but there's nothing to attract young people to keep them from leaving the island. Did you know that there are restaurants in the world where customers are served by monkeys? What could be so difficult about serving a bottle of beer to a guest? Nothing. The owner of this restaurant in Japan thought the same thing and hired a real monkey named Fuku-chan as a waiter. Of course, people still serve food here, but if you order a bottle of beer, the primate in a cute apron will bring it to you. However, there are some disadvantages. You have to open the bottle and drink the bottle yourself. Amazing, waiter has not yet mastered this part of the service. According to the owner of the restaurant, the monkey likes this kind of work. He feeds it with bananas and nuts as payment for its efforts. And if visitors like Fuku-chan, they can always leave it some soybeans as a tip. That's all, guys. Share some surprising and interesting facts that you know in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you later.